Hey there, welcome to Fun Rich Mom. I am Mitch Blackford. I'm so excited that you're joining me today. If you are new, thanks for joining us. And if you're returning, and especially if you're watching on YouTube, you're probably going, what the heck happened to your room? Because usually I'm in my room with my bed behind me. And today it's a little different because I'm on vacation in Branson, Missouri with my family. And you might be going, okay, why are you in Branson, Missouri on vacation? Which is exactly what Andrew said to me when I told him we're going to go to Branson, Missouri on vacation. And now that we're here, we absolutely love it. And it's been so much fun. I'm going to end up doing a review episode on it a little bit down the road. So keep your eye out on YouTube for that. However, as you can see, it's a little bit later. We got some mood lighting, kind of works because we had the solar eclipse today for me. You're watching this a little later, but we got the girls sleeping in the other room. So we're rolling a little different today. And what I wanted to talk to you about was how to bring your bold self forward. And I came up with this because we had a couple of examples this weekend while we were here in Branson. We went to some shows, and sometimes at shows they have a little bit of audience participation, or you can get a prize or whatever. And we happened to be at the Shanghai Circus, and they were passing out these the balloons that you make balloon animals with. they were the really long ones, and they were blown up, but they weren't in balloon animal shape. So I remember I was telling my girls, you gotta jump up in the air if you want one. And then I noticed it. They had one, just one, and it was the long balloon, but on the top of it they had this really cool reindeer balloon animal sticking on it. And I was like, oh, my kids would love that. So the time finally came where the circus clown who was handing these out started waving it around. And I just got up and started waving my hands and jumping and screaming like, right here, right here, right here. And yes, I am that person. And I don't care because guess who got it? Boom, this girl right here. And so my kids ended up walking off with it. And then later, my husband even ended up on stage because he kind of did something similar, and he got another balloon animal. So as I was thinking about our actions, laughing at ourselves and wondering, are my girls embarrassed? They weren't. They couldn't care less. They were just excited to have the balloon animals. It was something that we used them to teach, like, hey, you know what? You need to be bold in life and stand up for what you really wanted. And it reminded me of how I've kind of gone on this journey in my life where sometimes the bold is just popping out and roaring its head like nobody's business. And there are other times when I am literally just the wallflower. And I can tell what the differences are in how my attitude is. And three different things that come to mind as to when I feel confident and step out in my boldness versus when I feel a little more reserved and feel like I have to kind of hold myself back. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. Three things that help me step out in boldness, most often not in an embarrassing way, but there are some times, I will admit. So let's get started. I think we have this really cool perspective of when our children are born. They are just these blank slates that come out, and you just see this precious little baby. And I know all I could think of when I saw Zaya and Eja when they were born is, man, I cannot wait to see who you become. And just thinking of every experience that they're going to have that's going to shape and mold them, the values that they're going to choose to carry with them throughout their lives, the influences that, both Andrew and I were going to have on them and other family members, their friends, everyone that they come into contact with, and how that was going to shape them into a person and who that person was going to be. And I know some of you are like, man, my kid they came out just with full personality. There was no shaping and molding. This kid's already like telling me who they are. And I get that. I got two of them too, like strong personality. And like I said, so much of our life can dictate who we become by how we allow those experiences to affect us. So, not being any exception to the rule here, the first thing that I noticed in when I am choosing to be bold in my life, step up for myself, speak for myself, choose to just not be apologetic about who I am, is when I stop caring about what other people think, because that is the number one thing that I think holds so many of us back in stepping out in boldness and speaking who we truly are, is because we wonder, oh my gosh, what if I say that? What are they going to think of me? What if they don't like me? And it's a totally natural human reaction, because deep down, we're kind of pack animals. I mean, back in the day, we needed the pack to survive. If we got kicked out and we were on our own, guess what? Survival probably wasn't going to be a really great reality for us. And so there's this little part of us that still has that resonates with it. Like, I can't really disturb the pack, because then they might not like me. I might get kicked out. And that means all sorts of things that I'm going to miss out on because of it. And so there are times when we feel like, there's part of me that doesn't feel like I want to go with this, or that I fit into this mold, and I need to break out. However, we tame it. We hold ourselves back because we're more concerned about what other people think. And I have been there oh so many times in my life. And I know, like, when I was young, I was shy. I was actually the one that hid behind my mom. She would introduce me and I'd be like, and then there was my mom, who, she came from Chile. That's where she was born and raised. And she came from a family of 5 kids. She was one girl in between 2 boys. So she had 4 brothers to contend with, and just a very loud, fun, vibrant family. I mean, her younger 2 brothers, they could pick up any instrument and just play it just like they're geniuses at it. And so always a lot of stuff going on. And imagine that you're the only girl in the middle of this. You got to be able to step up and stand up for yourself with all these brothers around you too. So my mom grew up to be this very strong person. And when she met my dad, he lived in Utah. She ended up moving here to the United States. They got married. And this is back, well, I mean, they got married in the 70s, but back in the 80s, really growing up, we're living in Utah. And I gotta say, at that time, and it wasn't just Utah, I'm sure it was a lot of other places, it was very vanilla. And I'm talking about in every sense of the word. And my mom is very not. And what I loved about her, and what she showed me about not caring about what other people thought, is that she was just who she was. She never tried to change her true, authentic nature to fit into what other people were telling her she should be. And I can't tell you how many times she was told, oh, you'll never succeed in anything because you're dark and you have an accent, so you must be stupid. And that came across her path a lot. And some people would start to believe that, or try to change who they are to accommodate what people are telling her all the time. And my mom was like, no, that is not the truth. I am bright. I am bold. I have ambition, and I will go and succeed beyond any of your wildest dreams. And that's what she did. She went out, and it took her a while, man, but she worked hard. And I loved it, because that was the model that I saw of the world, was you don't apologize for who you are, even though other people might be uncomfortable with it, or might not like it, or might not agree with it. And this doesn't mean, that there weren't times when my mom sometimes embarrassed me and my brother. What? I can't believe you just said that, Mom. Oh my God, I have to go hide somewhere and never show my face again. Right? I think that's just mother privilege, though. At some point in time, we've just got to embarrass the kids. But she just knew who she was, and she wasn't going to live any other way. And so throughout my life, I had times where I had that boldness. And then there were times where I started looking around me and I felt like, I needed to fit in, or I needed to shrink back, because who I wasn't what I thought was the right thing. Like when I moved down to LA, for example, after I got my degree in theater, moved down to LA, wanted to become the big famous movie star, got down there. I'm like, yeah, wide-eyed, bushy-tailed. And I had been like the big fish in the little pond when I was back in college up in Sacramento. I was in shows all the time. We were in the geeky drama theater department, so I was with my people. And then I get down to LA, and it was this whole new world. And I wasn't what I thought lady material was. I wasn't 5'2", totally petite, and just whatever the story was that I made up. And so I stopped stepping out and just really pushing for the life that I wanted. And I can say, while I was down there, I was in acting classes. I got some headshots. I did a couple of little things. I did enough to get a union card. Woohoo! And that's about it. But I didn't really go out and chase after my dream. I wasn't bold enough, because I felt like other people didn't see that in me. And so I started to pull back and believe that, which leads me to reason number 2, that I find that I don't step out and live in my boldness. And this seems to be also a common thing among other people. And that is believing our excuses. Now, don't get me wrong. There are excuses for a lot of things, and some of them are legit, right? Most of them, if you really look at them, though, they're more just stories to make us feel good about why we're not where we are. And in fact, the other day I was driving with my girls, and I was probably listening to a podcast, and someone said something about excuses. And I always love it when my kids ask me something, because then I have to really know, do I know this really well? Because I have to break something down beyond the abstract, and I have to make it really simple and in concrete terms that a 5 and 6-year-old can understand. And so they said, well, Mom, what are excuses? What do they mean by that? So I'm like, okay, Mitch, here we go. What do you really know about this? And so I told them, well, sometimes you're playing and you guys make a big mess and all of your toys are all over the place. I'm like, yeah. And after a while, I come and say, okay, it's time to clean up. You need to start putting your toys up. We're done with playtime and all this stuff has to be put away. And then I walk away and I go do whatever I need to do. And let's say it's been 10 or 15 minutes and I come back and you guys haven't cleaned up the toys at all. You haven't touched them and all you did was keep playing. Even though when I told you it was time to clean up, you both said, okay, Mommy. And when I come back and nothing's been done, I say, what happened? You guys start to tell me a reason why the toys weren't put up. Well, that reason is an excuse because it's something that you come up with to make it sound okay that you didn't do what you were supposed to do, because you really just wanted to play, you really just wanted to do this, or you didn't want to put toys up because it was boring or took too much work, and so you kept playing and doing your own thing. But when it came time to tell me why, you made up something that sounded good and like, okay, it's okay, Mommy, that we didn't do this because this is the reason why. Well, that's an excuse. And I was really excited because they're like, oh, yeah, we know what you're saying. And I was like, okay, so next time, clean up the mess. Actually, no, it really made me think, okay, wow, how many times have I been using excuses in my life to make it feel okay with where I'm at, even though I know it's not where I want to be? And it's true. We tell ourselves these stories and we justify where we are. Well, it's okay that I'm not doing XYZ, or it's okay that, I didn't stop at the stop sign. No one was there. Or it's okay that this and that, or whatever excuses that we have. It's okay that I don't go and do this because I'm really too busy, but I have enough time to watch 2 hours of Netflix every day, So this is what holds us back from being bold in our life, because those excuses keep us comfortable, and comfortable isn't about being authentic to yourself. Comfortable isn't about going out there and living who you truly are. Comfortable isn't about making bold choices, and those excuses will hold us there every single time. Trust me, I have been the queen of it in my life. Like I said, and that when I was in LA, man, I had every excuse in the book. I don't have the money to take headshots with the best headshot photographer, even though someone down the street took it with their snapshot camera and was booking rolls. I don't know enough agents, even though my friend was being clever and going and knocking on doors of every agent and introducing himself. I don't, I don't. I have a gap in my teeth. Who's going to want to have a leading lady with a gap in her teeth? Well, look at Madonna. Not that she was a leading lady, but she did pretty well. She got a freaking gap in her teeth, right? So there were models of the world doing the things of what I wanted to do, but my excuses were more comfortable and gave me a reason to justify why I was where I was, instead of the fact that I just was refusing to be bold and to go out there and to do the darn thing. And it doesn't have to be something as crazy as I'm going to go and be a Hollywood star. Yeah, I know that's not for most people, but it could just be the next thing in your life, the next level that you're wanting to hit. And it's going to take a bold step for you to do it, but you're living by those excuses instead because it's easier, it's more comfortable, and then we also don't have to face a possible failure or judgment from, remember, what other people think. That number one, it just all ties in there together. It's crazy how this stuff works. So let's move on to number 3. And this one, I'm probably going to throw you for a loop for a minute. You're going to be like, okay, I'm not quite sure what this has to do with me being bold in my life, but just hang with me for a minute, okay? So number 3, the reason why we choose not to be bold is because we stop taking the time to understand and appreciate where other people in our lives, or even that we just interact with, are at in their life. And I kind of refer to this more as the ticker tape rule. So if you're ever watching the news, it doesn't matter what channel you are, they always have the ticker tape that goes at the bottom, right? The newscasters, they're talking, they're doing their thing. And at the bottom, there's like, the NASDAQ is now at this, or so-and-so did this, or it's just repeating whatever news is going on so that you can be watching two things at two times, because in this world, obviously, we do not have enough information being thrown at us at all times. And so the ticker tape is just constant. And the ticker tape can work both ways. It can work on yourself. We talked about this, I think, a few weeks ago before, about our self-talk, right? What are we spending our attention on? That ticker tape can definitely be sending those negative questions our way, telling us how we're failing, giving us all those excuses, letting us know what all the other people are thinking. And our ticker tape is also really, really, really good at making judgments about other people. I've got a raging ticker tape at times, and man, it's like really, the spools just can't keep up with how much stuff my ticker tape is sending across my little brain. And it's basically like all the things, say, for example, we'll just use an easy example. Like I ask Andrew to take out the trash, and he doesn't take out the trash, and my ticker tape starts going. He's not taking out the trash. He's being lazy. All he cares about is himself. Man, if he only blah, 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 blah. And the ticker tape's just like, and he should do this, and he should do this, and doesn't he realize I do that, and blah, 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 blah. And it's just going, and it's just going and going and going and going. And this is where it stops us from being bold, because being bold about who you are and coming out powerfully in your life and standing up for who you are also is not about ripping other people down and being bold about, I told you to take out the trash. Why hasn't the trash? It's not about that. And we're going to move into this, but let's start off with the fact that we forget that the other person also has a ticker tape going about us. Sometimes I've caught myself a few times, man, my ticker tape is like, boom, just rolling at supersonic speeds. And then I stop, I'm like, oh, if I stepped into that person's head right now and was reading their ticker tape about me, how crazy would their loop be? And I probably wouldn't like to read all the things that they're saying about me, because from their perspective, it's reality. Let's be real, right? If I'm showing up in a certain way, it doesn't matter what your intentions are. It doesn't matter what you think about yourself. It matters how you're showing up and how they're receiving you. And that's what that ticker tape is going to be doing. And so that usually gets me to stop and take a minute and like, okay, I've got a ticker tape. They've got a ticker tape. And here's the deal. All of us are going to have these ticker tapes, because it doesn't matter who you are. None of us have the exact same perspective on all of life. Even in the same family, my brother and I, raised in the same family, we have different values in certain areas of our life. We act different ways. We've had different experiences that now make us react in a different way to other things that we come across in life. My husband, man, we've been married for almost 12 years. We've been together for longer. And all this time together, guess what? We still have a different way that we react and perceive life as it comes and happens, right? And how we're going to react to it. And so I can't be expecting everyone that I run into to have the same reactions and thoughts that I do. And I know you know this, because maybe some of you have been like, I can't believe they think that way. How do they think that way? Well, they think that way because they had a completely different life than you. And they had different experiences. And if you understood all of those things, those chains of events that happened in their life, then their reaction in this moment would seem completely reasonable. It would make sense. You'd be like, oh, that totally makes sense. I get it now. They should be acting this way. And now this changes how we react in the world. And it also changes another key component. is when we are about to have our words with someone, so to speak, like, oh, well, you should, and we stop and take a minute, like, oh, wait a second. They're reacting to me or they're coming to me in this way for a very good reason from their perspective. And I still feel convicted about who I am in this situation, but I need to have some really good clarity in my life about why. Why am I here? Why is it that I want this? And what is it that I want to get moving forward? Because if I can't even have the clarity to tell myself that, how can I expect other people to understand me when I'm stepping up and being bold? And that's why understanding and appreciating where other people are at is such a huge part of this being bold. Okay. Is this starting to make sense now? So we have what other people think. We're worried about them, but then we make excuses, which also comes into what other people think sometimes because we don't want to fail, we don't want to be judged. And then we need to have clarity in our lives and understand that our perception is our own and not everybody else's. And so when we step in and we be bold, we want to be bold in our best possible self. We want to bring our best self forward, not the bold, because trust me when I say this. I have done this many, many times. I have brought the bold forward, but it was not the bold that I was proud of. Where you're just like, oh, yeah. And then you step back and you're like, oh, no, I can't ever show my face again. Ah. And when that happens, it's going to happen because it happens to all of us, some more than others. Raising my hand here if you're not watching. That's the time when, again, you can understand and appreciate other people's world. And this is the growing part of being bold, is stepping up and saying, hey, you know what, man, I just came off in a way that I totally did not mean to come off. And I just ask for your grace because I'm going to work on that so that when I step up in this way again, that I do it the right way and that it's a way that is well received. Because when you are being your best self, when you are stepping forward in that power, in that leadership, in that just that true grace and understanding of this is who I am, this is who I'm bringing, this is what I want to put forward in the world. There's an attractiveness about it. There's a glow about it. There's something, that's where that X factor comes in, where those people that they're just stepping up and being their best selves and acknowledging when they need to work on that as well. You want to be around those people. And that's what the boldness that I want in my life. I want that to be reflected wherever I am and whoever I'm around. And it's not always the case. There are times, that I don't show up as my best self. There are times when, guess what? I just want to chill and I want to be the wallflower, and that's okay too. And I also know that I have the capacity in me at any time that I want to step forward and be bold, because now I have the belief in myself. I've stopped worrying about what other people think, as demonstrated here in Branson with the, hey, right here. I don't care if I have to make a fool. I want the balloon. I don't care what other people think, because in the long run, guess what? I'm the only one that gets to experience my life. And I'm the only one that gets to choose what my actions are. And I'm the only one that will carry my memories forward and live the legacy that I leave behind, right? There will be other people that will be a part of my experience. They get to make their own decisions. They get to make their own judgments. And that's why I also don't want to live in my excuses, because I want to step forward. I want to show the people in my life, hey, be bold about who you are. Who you are is enough. Who you are is the person that was meant to be here. So don't worry about those other judgments, and don't worry about making excuses so that you can stay small and comfortable. And then also go and understand and appreciate other people around you so that they love the bold that you bring, because they know it's not just about you going out there and being the, hey, it's the me show. It's about you going out there and being bold and inviting everyone to come along with you, because they are amazing and important too. So those are the 3 steps to overcoming the wallflower syndrome and stepping into boldness in your life. I hope that maybe you could see parts of you where you can be like, yeah, you know what, I can see where I'm at there, and maybe I can step forward a little bit here, or I can maybe see a couple of excuses that have been very endearing to my heart because they've kept me quite comfortable. I still have quite a few of those excuses that I got to work on where I'm like, but we're such good friends. We're such good friends. I don't want to break up with it yet. They're keeping me so comfortable. And then also understanding when someone else reacts to you, take a step back, turn off your ticker tape, imagine what their ticker tape might be saying about you, and understanding that it's a true perception. Even if it may not be completely accurate for them, guess what? That's their perception. Just like your perception, although it may not be completely accurate of someone else, it's your true perception of what's going on in the moment, right? So understanding and appreciating someone else's world so that we can lock arms, go out there, be bold together, and just have so much fun being vibrant and powerful and free. So I know you have had this experience where you just had that it was like a tug. It was like something or nudging you, just like, oh, this is the chance. This is it. This is go, step up, be bold, be you. You've got this. And you're like, and then there's that part of you where like, oh, and you sit back and you let the moment slip by. And you walk away and there's just this, I wish I would have. I knew I could have. It would have been so. And that's where I don't want any of us to feel stuck. I don't want us to walk around with a bunch of I wish I would have. I knew I could have. I should have. That is a no fun feeling. And so my hope is that in this episode, you feel a little bit more like, you know what? I get it now. I see how I can put these pieces together and I can start to bring that power that I know that is just rocking inside of me and waiting for me to bust the cage and let it loose and let it live freely. All right. I feel better now. I just had to get it off my chest and share this with you. And since it is the wrap up of the episode, I have not left you with a joke for the last couple of episodes. I feel kind of bad. So since it is solar eclipse day for me, I got a really cute and simple one for you. You ready? The child asked his dad, he said, Dad, will you explain what the solar eclipse is to me? And the dad looked at him and he said, no, son. That one actually took me a minute. So maybe you'll get it. Maybe you won't. We'll see. Go ask someone else or write it down and you'll see it. So that is it for me today. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you as always. If you could, I would love it if you would like and subscribe, share it with your friend, drop a comment, let me know what's going on in your world or what you want to hear about. That would excite me the most. In the meanwhile, go make it fun, make it rich, and I will be talking to you next week. Bye.